The blue-white gleam of the United Earth Alliance vessel Horizon reflected the distant stars as it approached the massive space station orbiting Centauri Prime. Commander Allison Wright stood on the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back, watching as the spectacular ring-shaped structure grew larger in the view screen. "Nervous?" asked Daniel Foster, adjusting his uniform collar. The scientist had barely slept during their 3-week journey from Earth. "Just focused," Allison replied, though her tight grip betrayed her tension. This mission would determine humanity's place among the stars. After centuries of dreaming about alien life, humans had finally developed faster-than-light travel, and the Galactic Council had extended an invitation to Earth. Now, Allison led the first official human delegation to Council headquarters. Catherine Bell joined them at the viewport, her dark eyes wide with wonder. "Look at the size of that station. Our engineering team will have a field day studying its structure." "Let's hope they give us the chance," Daniel said. "We're the new kids on the block. Many species have been part of the Council for thousands of years." The communications panel chimed, and pilot Olivia Chen turned from her station. "Commander, we're receiving docking instructions. They're clearing a bay for us now." "Acknowledged," Allison said. "Jack, how are our systems?" Engineer Jack Nelson didn't look up from his console. "All green, Commander. The quantum drive is powered down and stable." Allison nodded. "All right, team. Remember your briefings. This is a historic moment for Earth. Let's make a good impression." As the Horizon glided into the enormous docking bay, the humans fell silent. Dozens of alien ships filled the space. Sleek vessels with impossible geometries, massive carriers with crystalline hulls, and tiny craft that seemed to bend light around them. The variety was staggering. "Those ships," whispered Jack. "The technology must be centuries beyond ours." "That's why we're here," Allison reminded him. "To learn and grow." When the Horizon settled into its berth, Allison led her core team to the airlock. Each wore the dark blue uniform of the United Earth Alliance, with the UEA insignia, Earth embraced by stars, prominently displayed. "Remember," Allison said as the airlock cycled, "we represent not just ourselves, but all of humanity." The airlock hissed open, revealing a reception area flooded with strange light. A group of aliens waited for them. Beings of various shapes, sizes, and colors. Some looked almost human, while others defied description. "Welcome to Centauri Prime," said a tall, slender alien with iridescent skin. "I am Laren, Protocol Officer of the Galactic Council. We hope your journey was comfortable." "Thank you." Allison stepped forward, executing the formal bow they had been taught. "I am Commander Allison Wright of Earth. We are honored by your invitation." As introductions continued, Catherine nudged Daniel, pointing discreetly toward a group of aliens standing apart from the others. They had angular features and metallic blue skin that seemed to shimmer with its own light. Their eyes, 3 on each face, watched the humans with obvious distrust. "Arcturians," Catherine whispered, recognizing them from their briefings. "The technologically advanced species." One Arcturian stepped forward, towering over the human delegation. "I am Ambassador Zixvar of the Arcturian Dominion," it said, its voice carrying a musical quality despite the cold stare. "Your species is unexpected." Allison maintained her diplomatic smile. "We look forward to learning from the Council and contributing what we can to galactic society." "Yes," Zixvar said, all 3 eyes narrowing. "We shall see what contributions humans make. Some of us have concerns about your unpredictable nature." Before Allison could respond, Laren intervened. "The council session begins tomorrow. You will be formally presented to the assembly then. For now, please follow me to your quarters." As the humans followed Laren deeper into the station, Allison felt the weight of Zixvar's gaze on her back. She had expected challenges, but the open hostility from the Arcturian ambassador troubled her. Why would such an advanced species fear humans? "I don't think the blue guys like us much," Jack muttered. Diplomacy isn't about being liked, Allison replied, keeping her voice low. It's about finding common ground. But as they passed through the grand hallways filled with beings from across the galaxy, she wondered if humanity would find its place among the stars, or if they had entered a game with rules they didn't understand and stakes higher than they could imagine. The council chamber was vast, with tiered seating that stretched upward in concentric rings. Light filtered through crystalline panels in the domed ceiling, casting rainbow patterns across the floor. Over 200 delegates from different worlds filled the chamber, their voices a symphony of clicks, rumbles, and musical tones. Allison and her team sat in the visitors section, trying not to stare at the bewildering variety of alien life forms. Some floated in special tanks, others had to wear environmental suits, and a few existed as projections of pure energy. I never imagined so many different species, whispered Catherine. Her translator was working overtime, trying to keep up with nearby conversations. Focus, Allison reminded her. We're here to make our case for Earth's inclusion in the Council. The chamber quieted as a tall being with 4 arms and silver skin approached the central podium. I call this session of the Galactic Council to order, it announced. Today we welcome representatives from Earth, the newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some aliens leaned forward with interest, while others drew back as if wary. Commander Wright, please address the council, the chairperson said. Allison walked to the center platform, her steps measured and confident, despite her racing heart. She had practiced this speech for weeks. Honored delegates of the Galactic Council, she began. Earth comes in peace, and with great hope. For centuries, we have looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know the answer, and we are eager to join this community of worlds. As she spoke about Earth's history, achievements, and aspirations, Allison noticed Ambassador Zixpar and a group of Arcturians huddled together, their 3 eyes fixed on her with unmistakable hostility. When she finished, the chairperson invited questions. Several delegates asked about Earth's technological capabilities, political systems, and cultural diversity. Allison and her team answered honestly, emphasizing humanity's desire to learn and contribute. Then Ambassador Zixpar glided to the speaking platform, its metallic blue skin catching the light. I wish to present evidence for the Council's consideration, it said, its musical voice carrying an edge. The main display screen activated, showing images of Earth's history, wars, environmental disasters, nuclear tests. Many delegates gasped or made sounds of distress. These are the new arrivals who seek our welcome, Zixpar said. A species that has repeatedly brought itself to the edge of destruction. A species that thrives on conflict and chaos. Daniel stood up, his face flushed. Those images are from our past. We've learned from our mistakes. Have you? Zixpar countered. Our monitoring shows that humans still maintain weapons capable of planetary destruction. Your societies remain divided. Your technological growth outpaces your ethical development. More images appeared. Riots, melting ice caps, military parades. The Arcturian Dominion formally objects to Earth's inclusion in the Council, Zixpar declared. Humans are too volatile, too unpredictable. They do not follow logical patterns of behavior. The ambassador turned to face the assembly, raising all 4 arms. I warn you all today. Only gods can aid when humans lose control. Their chaos will spread throughout our ordered galaxy if we allow it. The chamber erupted in confused debate. Allison stood frozen, unprepared for this direct attack. Jack leaned toward Catherine. This feels personal. Why do they hate us so much? Before Catherine could respond, a hush fell over the chamber. An ancient being had risen from the highest tier, tall and thin with skin like parchment and eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them. The Eldarans wished to speak, the chairperson announced, surprise evident in their voice. This is rare indeed. The elderly alien approached slowly, using a staff made of some unknown material that glowed softly. I am Sage Orin of the Eldaran Collective, it said, its voice surprisingly strong. We have observed many species rise to join this council over millennia. Sage Orin turned to look directly at the Arcturian delegation. Ambassador Zixtwer speaks of chaos as if it is something to fear. Yet the universe itself was born from chaos, and from that chaos came stars, planets, and eventually life. The sage approached Allison and studied her with ancient eyes. Humans are indeed unpredictable by the standards of many here, but perhaps what our ordered galaxy needs is a touch of creative chaos. Zixvar made a sharp, discordant sound. The Eldarans have hidden in their nebula for centuries. They do not understand the practical concerns of galactic governance. We understand more than you know, young one. Sage Orin replied calmly. The Eldaran Collective supports Earth's petition for membership. We will sponsor them, as is our right under ancient treaty. The chamber fell completely silent. The Eldarans, the oldest known species in the galaxy, rarely involved themselves in council politics. Their sponsorship changed everything. Allison exchanged glances with her team, relief mixed with confusion. They had found an unexpected ally, but the Arcturians' hostility remained a mystery, one that seemed more dangerous by the minute. The human quarters aboard the Centauri station were comfortable but plain. After the dramatic council session, Allison's team gathered in her room to discuss their situation. The Arcturians have been planning this, Allison said, pacing the floor. Their attack wasn't random. They came prepared with those images and arguments. Catherine nodded, her fingers moving quickly over her datapad. I've been reviewing our briefings on the Arcturian Dominion. They're one of the most technologically advanced species in the Council, but also one of the most rigid. Their society values order and predictability above all else. That explains why they dislike humans, Daniel said. We're anything but predictable. Jack Nelson had been unusually quiet since they returned from the council chamber. He sat in the corner, fiddling with a small device. What's that, Jack? Allison asked. He looked up, slightly embarrassed. It's a modified scanner. I was curious about the station's power systems, so I built this to analyze the energy signatures. He hesitated, and I found something odd. Odd how? Daniel leaned forward. There's an unusual energy pattern coming from the Arcturian embassy section. It doesn't match any of the other systems on the station. Jack projected a holographic display showing energy waves. See these spikes? They happen every 6 hours, exactly. Allison studied the pattern. Could it be normal Arcturian technology? Maybe, Jack admitted, but it seems deliberately hidden. The signal is masked to look like background radiation, unless you know exactly what to look for. We need more information, Allison decided. Catherine, you've been studying alien languages. Can you access any Arcturian communications? Catherine bit her lip. I can try. Their language is complex, but my translator has basic Arcturian patterns. Do it, Allison said. Daniel, I want you to learn more about the Eldarans. Why would they support us against the Arcturians? Daniel nodded. I'll see if I can arrange a meeting with Sage Orin. The team dispersed to their tasks. Hours later, as the station's artificial night cycle began, Catherine burst into Allison's quarters, her eyes wide with excitement. Commander, I intercepted something. She lowered her voice, though they were alone. I've been monitoring open communications channels, and I caught an encrypted Arcturian transmission. My translator couldn't handle most of it, but I got fragments. She pulled up the translation on her datapad. Humans, monitoring, decades, prophecy, danger, prophecy. Allison frowned. That's an odd word for a species that prides itself on logic and science. That's not all, Catherine continued. I found references to something called the Chaotic Ones in their communications. I think they're talking about us, about humans. Before they could discuss further, Daniel entered. His face was flushed with excitement. I just met with Sage Orin, he said. The Eldaran invited me to their private chambers. It was Incredible. What did you learn? Allison asked. Daniel sat down, collecting his thoughts. The Eldarans have been watching Earth for centuries. They've studied us without interfering. Sage Orin said humans possessed something unique, a neural pattern that no other species has. What kind of neural pattern? Catherine asked. Our brains form connections in ways that seem random to other species, where Arcturians process information in linear, predictable patterns. Humans make intuitive leaps. We see connections that others miss. Daniel leaned forward. Sage Orin said our adaptability is unmatched in the galaxy. Jack, who had been listening from the doorway, stepped in. That would explain why the Arcturians fear us. Their whole society is built on order and prediction. There's more, Daniel said quietly. The Eldarans believe humans are meant to play some important role in the galaxy's future. Sage Orin wouldn't explain fully, but said that's why they chose to support us. Allison processed this information. So the Arcturians have been watching Earth for decades. They're afraid of us because of some prophecy, and they're hiding unusual technology in their embassy. She shook her head. This goes beyond simple diplomatic tension. Commander, Jack said hesitantly, I've been thinking about tomorrow's technology demonstration. We're supposed to show the Council our quantum communication system. What about it? If the Arcturians truly see humans as a threat, they might use the demonstration as an opportunity to discredit us. A technological failure would support their claim that we're dangerous and unpredictable. Allison considered this. We need to be prepared for sabotage. Jack, check all our equipment tonight. Catherine, keep monitoring their communications. Daniel, learn what you can from Sage Orin about Arcturian beliefs. As her team left to carry out their tasks, Allison stared out the viewport at the endless stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, still unaware of the strange politics their representatives had stumbled into. She had expected first contact to be challenging, but not to find humans at the center of an alien prophecy. What are you hiding? Ambassador Zixbar, she whispered to the stars. And what are you so afraid of? The demonstration hall buzzed with activity as delegates from dozens of worlds filed in to observe Earth's new quantum communication technology. Transparent walls allowed viewers to see both the main chamber and the control room, where Jack and Olivia prepared the equipment. All systems check out, Jack said, running his hands over the smooth metal casing of the quantum transmitter. I triple-checked everything last night. Olivia nodded, her fingers dancing across the control panel. Power levels are stable. Quantum field looks good. In the observation area, Allison stood with Catherine and Daniel, greeting council members as they arrived. The atmosphere was tense but hopeful. This was Earth's chance to show they had something valuable to contribute. Commander Wright, a familiar voice called. Ambassador Zixbar approached with two other Arcturians. I trust your demonstration will be controlled today. We appreciate your concern, Ambassador, Allison replied evenly. Earth's quantum communication system has been thoroughly tested and is completely safe. Zixbar's three eyes blinked in sequence. Safety is relative, Commander. What one species considers safe, another might find catastrophic. As the ambassador moved away, Catherine leaned close to Allison. I don't like this. 3 Arcturians entered the engineering level earlier this morning. Did you alert security? Yes, but they had proper authorization. They claimed to be checking environmental systems. Daniel frowned. Convenient timing. The chairperson of the council called for attention, and the crowd fell silent. Today, the human delegation will demonstrate their quantum communication technology. This system reportedly allows instant communication across any distance without the use of traditional subspace channels. Allison stepped forward. Thank you, Chairperson. This technology represents a new approach to faster-than-light communication. Unlike current methods, quantum communication cannot be intercepted or disrupted by conventional means. She nodded to Jack and Olivia in the control room. We will now establish a quantum link with our ship, the *Horizon*, and then with Earth itself. Jack activated the main system. The quantum transmitter hummed to life, projecting a holographic display of data streams connecting to the Horizon *. Delegates murmured appreciatively as crystal-clear images appeared. The ship's bridge, then scenes from Earth, the oceans, mountains, cities. As you can see, Allison continued, the connection is stable and instantaneous, regardless of distance. Everything was proceeding perfectly until a shrill alarm cut through the hall. Energy spike. Olivia shouted, her hands flying over the controls. Something's overriding the safety protocols. In the observation area, delegates began backing away as the quantum transmitter pulsed with increasingly bright light. Shut it down, Allison ordered. I can't. Jack's voice came over the speakers. The override is locked in. We're headed for a cascade failure. The Arcturian delegation was already moving toward the exits, Zixfer in the lead. Allison caught the ambassador's eye and saw something there, not fear, but satisfaction. Sabotage, she whispered to Daniel and Catherine. Then louder, everyone please evacuate calmly. We'll handle this. Panic spread through the hall as delegates rushed toward the exits. Allison pushed against the flow, heading for the control room. Inside, Jack and Olivia worked frantically. The quantum transmitter now glowed with a blinding blue-white light, and the air crackled with energy. What's happening? Allison demanded. Someone planted a feedback loop in the system, Jack explained, sweat streaming down his face. It's forcing the quantum field to expand beyond containment. If it ruptures, how bad? It could take out this entire section of the station. Olivia looked up from her console. Conventional shutdown won't work. The saboteurs were thorough. Allison made a quick decision. Can we redirect the energy? Jack shook his head. Not through normal channels. What about abnormal channels? Olivia suggested suddenly. The cooling system. We could use it as a conductor. Jack's eyes widened. That's crazy. It's not designed to handle this kind of energy. But will it work? Allison pressed. Maybe. But we have to manually reconfigure the coolant lines while the system is live. The radiation would be intense. Olivia was already moving toward the maintenance panel. I can reroute the primary controls. Jack, you'll need to recalibrate the quantum matrix to accept the new pathway. Without hesitation, the two humans threw themselves into the task. Their hands moved with a speed born of desperation and inspiration. Jack tore open panels while Olivia reconnected circuits. They called adjustments to each other in rapid-fire technical language. In the hall, most delegates had evacuated, but Daniel and Catherine remained at the observation window, watching their crewmates work. Beside them stood Sajorin, the ancient Eldoran's eyes reflecting the pulsing light. Look at them, the sage said softly. Where others see only danger, they see possibility. The quantum transmitter was now vibrating violently, the metal casing beginning to warp from the energy contained within. Jack's hands were blistered from the heat, but he continued working. Olivia's face was streaked with sweat and coolant fluid as she forced connections that were never meant to exist. Almost there, Jack shouted. Olivia, when I say now, divert all power to the secondary coolant loop. Ready. The transmitter gave a high-pitched whine, reaching a frequency that made everyone's teeth ache. Now, Olivia slammed down a series of controls. The lights in the entire section flickered and died. For one terrible moment, silence fell. Then a massive surge of energy traveled visibly through the improvised pathway, turning the coolant lines a glowing orange. The quantum transmitter sputtered and went dark. Emergency lights came on, casting the chamber in a red glow. Jack collapsed against a console, exhausted. It worked. We vented the energy into the station's external heat sinks. Allison helped Olivia to her feet. Are you both all right? Nothing a good medical bay can't fix. Olivia managed a weak smile. The door slid open, and the council chairperson entered, followed by security officers and medical personnel. What happened here? Sabotage, Allison said firmly. Someone deliberately overrode our safety systems. A serious accusation, Commander Wright. The chairperson replied. Do you have proof? Before Allison could answer, Sage Orin stepped forward. I witnessed the incident. The humans did not cause this catastrophe. They prevented it. Their quick thinking saved many lives today. The chairperson looked around at the damaged equipment and the injured humans. This incident will require a full investigation. Until then, all technological demonstrations are suspended. They paused, looking directly at Allison, and perhaps Ambassador Zixwer was right to be concerned about the dangers of human technology. As medical staff tended to Jack and Olivia, Allison felt a cold knot forming in her stomach. The Arcturians had played their hand perfectly. Even in preventing disaster, the humans now appeared dangerous and unpredictable to the Council. They won't win, Catherine whispered, reading Allison's expression. We'll find proof of their sabotage. We better, Allison replied, watching as Jack and Olivia were taken to the medical bay. Because I think this was just their opening move. The emergency council session began just hours after the incident. The Grand Chamber, normally orderly and dignified, now hummed with tension as delegates whispered among themselves. Many seats remained empty. Several species had withdrawn their representatives until the human situation was resolved. Allison stood at the center of the chamber, alone. Her team waited in a separate holding area while the council decided Earth's fate. She kept her back straight and her face calm, though exhaustion pulled at her. The council chairperson rose. This special tribunal is now in session. Following yesterday's dangerous incident with human technology, we must determine whether Earth should be permitted to join our community. Ambassador Zixwer glided forward, metallic skin gleaming under the lights. The evidence speaks for itself. Humans brought unstable technology into this sacred chamber. Lives were endangered. Council property was damaged. The Arcturian turned all three eyes toward Allison. We warned you. Humans cannot control their chaos. The incident was the result of sabotage, Allison countered. Our systems were secure until someone deliberately altered them. A convenient claim, Zixwer said. But where is your proof? Perhaps your technology simply failed, as unpredictable things often do. The chairperson gestured for calm. We have reviewed the station's security recordings. No unauthorized persons entered the demonstration area before the incident. I request access to those recordings, Allison said, and I ask that my science officer be allowed to present evidence. After a brief discussion, the council agreed. Daniel was brought in, carrying a datapad. He looked tired but determined. Respected delegates, he began. I've been studying Arcturian historical records available in the council database. I found inconsistencies in Ambassador Zixwer's claims about human unpredictability. He projected a series of Arcturian texts onto the main display. These are excerpts from Arcturian writings about other species. In each case, the Arcturians initially described new contact species as dangerously unpredictable. Yet after trade agreements were established, these same species were reclassified as acceptably orderly. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Daniel continued, This suggests a pattern. The Arcturians consistently resist new influences until they can control them. Zixwer's skin flushed a darker blue. This is irrelevant. The humans' technology nearly destroyed part of this station. And speaking of that, Daniel said, turning to a new display, I worked with Sage Orin to analyze the energy signature from yesterday's incident. He nodded respectfully to the Eldoran, who sat watching from the upper tier. The quantum fluctuations show clear signs of external manipulation, a specific pattern matching Arcturian encryption algorithms. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Zixwer made a harsh, discordant sound. These claims are outrageous. The humans are trying to shift blame for their failure. Sage Orin rose slowly, commanding immediate silence. I have something to share with the council. The ancient being approached the center platform. During my conversations with Daniel Foster, I sensed a genuine desire to understand our ways. This led me to share with him certain texts from our archives, texts that the Arcturians believed were lost long ago. The sage projected a strange, swirling script onto the display. This is the complete prophecy that the Arcturians have been so concerned about. Not their distorted version, but the original. Daniel stepped forward. With the Eldoran's help, I've translated the key passage. It does mention humans, but not as destroyers. He read aloud. When the order of eons grows stagnant, the chaotic ones will emerge from their blue world. Their minds form connections where none should exist. Their actions defy prediction. They will challenge the order that binds the stars. Sage Orin nodded. The Arcturians have deliberately misinterpreted their own ancient texts. The prophecy does not warn against humans. It heralds their arrival as necessary for the galaxy's evolution. Allison watched Ambassador Zixfar carefully. The Arcturian's posture had changed, becoming rigid with what appeared to be alarm. "This is why you fear us," she said, addressing Zixfar directly. "Not because we're dangerous, but because your prophecies say we'll change things. We'll disrupt your control." Before Zixfar could respond, the chamber's emergency alert system activated. A holographic display appeared at the center of the room, showing a massive spatial disturbance forming at the edge of the Centauri system. "What is that?" the chairperson demanded. A technical officer rushed in. "Unknown spatial anomaly, Chairperson. It's growing rapidly and emitting strange radiation patterns. Our defense systems are not responding." Zixfar stepped back, the movement so subtle that only Allison noticed. The ambassador knew something about this anomaly. She was certain of it. The council erupted in confusion. Several delegates called for immediate evacuation of the station. Others demanded emergency measures. The chairperson struggled to maintain order. Amidst the chaos, Sage Orin approached Allison. "This is no natural phenomenon," the ancient being said quietly. "The pattern of energy is familiar to me. It resembles technology from the precursor civilization, beings who vanished millions of years ago." "Precursors?" Allison asked. "I don't understand. Before any of our species reached the stars, they ruled the galaxy. Their technology was so advanced it seemed like magic." The sage looked at her with those ancient, knowing eyes. Someone has awakened something that should have remained sleeping. Allison glanced at Zixfar, who was now speaking urgently with other Arcturians. "The Arcturians. Perhaps. They have long sought precursor artifacts. But they may have found more than they bargained for." Sage Orin grasped Allison's arm with surprising strength. "This is why you are here, Commander. The prophecy speaks of chaos meeting order. Your species thinks differently. You see solutions where others see only problems." The chairperson called for silence. All ships are ordered to prepare for possible evacuation. The Council's technical teams will analyze this anomaly and determine appropriate action. Allison stepped forward. "Chairperson, I request permission to assist. My engineer and pilot have experience with unusual energy patterns, as we demonstrated yesterday." There was a moment of hesitation before the chairperson nodded. "Very well, Commander Wright. But understand this, if humans are responsible for this new crisis, the consequences will be severe." As the council adjourned in disarray, Allison gathered her team. Jack and Olivia had been released from the medical bay, their injuries treated but not fully healed. "What's the plan, Commander?" Catherine asked. Allison looked at each of them, tired, outnumbered, caught in alien politics beyond their understanding. Yet she saw no fear in their eyes, only determination. "First, we find out what that anomaly really is," she said. "Then we stop it. And along the way, we discover what the Arcturians are really up to." "Just another day representing humanity among the stars," Jack said with a weak smile. Daniel looked thoughtful. "The prophecy said only gods can aid when humans lose control. I wonder what that means." "I guess we'll find out," Allison replied. "One way or another." The Council's Emergency Command Center was a hive of activity. Alien technicians rushed between workstations, their voices rising in a dozen different languages as they tried to understand the growing anomaly. Holographic displays showed the strange spatial disturbance expanding steadily toward the Centauri system. Allison and her team stood to one side, watching the growing panic. Council species that normally maintained perfect composure were now showing signs of fear. "They don't know what to do," Catherine whispered. "Look at them, all this advanced technology, and they're as confused as we would be." Jack studied the redouts with narrowed eyes. "That's no natural phenomenon. The energy pattern is too regular, too structured." Olivia nodded. "It's almost like it's communicating." Daniel turned to Allison. "Commander, I need to show you something." He led her to a quiet corner and pulled up data on his pad. "While working with Sage Orin, I accessed some restricted council archives about the precursors. The ancient civilization the sage mentioned. Yes, they supposedly vanished millions of years ago, but they left behind artifacts. Pieces of technology so advanced that most species can't even understand how they work." Daniel's eyes gleamed with excitement. "The Arcturians have been searching for these artifacts for centuries." Allison frowned. "You think that anomaly is precursor technology? I think the Arcturians found something they couldn't control." Daniel lowered his voice further. "And I think they've been hiding their discoveries from the Council." A commotion at the main entrance drew their attention. Ambassador Zixvar entered with several Arcturian officials, moving quickly toward the command console. "The anomaly has begun affecting communication systems throughout the sector," the ambassador announced. "We must evacuate immediately." The chairperson looked uncertain. "Our ships can't transport everyone at once, and some delegates require special environmental conditions." "The Arcturian vessels will accommodate priority members," Zixvar offered smoothly. "We must preserve the council leadership." As the delegates argued about evacuation priorities, Catherine pulled Allison aside. "Commander, I've been monitoring Arcturian communications again. They're using a different encryption now, but I managed to break part of it." "What did you find?" "They're not surprised by this anomaly. In fact," Catherine hesitated, "I think they created it." Allison's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "The fragments I decoded mentioned activation sequence and control demonstration. They're doing this deliberately, Commander." Before Allison could respond, the station shuddered. Lights flickered, and several systems went offline temporarily. "The anomaly is affecting our power grid," a technician called out. "Shields are weakening." Sage Orin appeared beside them, moving with surprising speed for such an ancient being. "Commander Wright, we must speak privately. Bring your team." The Eldoran led them to a small meeting room adjacent to the command center. Once inside, Sage Orin sealed the door and activated a device that emitted a soft hum. "Privacy field," the sage explained. "What I must tell you cannot be overheard." The ancient being's eyes looked tired now, burdened with knowledge. "The Arcturians have discovered a precursor weapon system. They have been studying it secretly for decades, learning how to control it." "Why would they activate it now?" Olivia asked. "To eliminate the threat you pose." Sage Orin looked directly at Allison. "The prophecy has troubled them for generations. When humans achieved faster than light travel, they knew the time had come. They needed a way to remove humanity from the galactic stage without directly attacking Earth." Jack whistled softly. "So they create a crisis, blame it on us, and get us banned from council space. Or worse," Daniel added grimly. "If that really is a weapon, they could claim humans forced them to use it in self-defense." Catherine studied her datapad. "The anomaly is on a direct course for this station. Arrival in approximately 6 hours." Sage Orin nodded sadly. "The Arcturians believe they can control the precursor system, use it to demonstrate human danger, then deactivate it after achieving their political goals." "But can they actually control it?" Allison asked. "No." The sage's voice was firm. "The precursor technologies were not meant for our use. The Arcturians understand only fragments of its true purpose. They have awakened something far beyond their comprehension. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. How do we stop it? Allison finally asked. We cannot, not with conventional means. Sage Orin pointed to the data on Daniel's pad. The weapon is designed to target specific neural patterns. The Arcturians modified it to target human brainwave signatures, but they do not realize the system was originally created to counter the precursors themselves. Jack looked confused. I don't understand. If it targets human brainwaves. The precursors had neural patterns remarkably similar to humans, Sage Orin explained. That is why the prophecy exists. That is why the Arcturians fear you. You think as the precursors did, in ways that defy conventional logic. Allison paced the small room. So this weapon is heading straight for us. It's specifically designed to target humans, and conventional defenses won't work against it. Correct, the sage said. Then we need unconventional defenses. Allison turned to her team. If this thing is targeting human neural patterns, maybe that's also its weakness. Catherine's eyes widened. The quantum communicator. It was designed to transmit human thought patterns across space. Could we use it to interfere with the weapon's targeting system? Daniel asked. Jack rubbed his chin. Maybe. If we could reverse the signal, broadcast a scrambled version of human neural patterns, it would be like jamming the weapon's sensors. Olivia finished. But we'd need access to the communicator, and after yesterday's incident. The door slid open, interrupting her. The council chairperson stood there, flanked by security officers. Commander Wright, they said formally. Ambassador Zixvar has brought serious charges against your delegation. He claims to have proof that humans deliberately created this spatial anomaly as a demonstration of power. That's ridiculous, Allison protested. We had nothing to do with it. Nevertheless, I must ask you and your team to surrender yourselves to council security until this matter is resolved. The chairperson's voice was regretful but firm. As the security officers moved forward, Sage Orin stepped between them and the humans. I invoke the right of advocacy. As the Eldoran representative and sponsor of Earth's petition, I claim responsibility for the human delegation. The chairperson hesitated. The right of advocacy is ancient law, rarely used, but still valid, the sage insisted. The humans will remain under my supervision while they assist with the current crisis. After a tense moment, the chairperson nodded reluctantly. Very well. But they are confined to designated areas only, and all their activities must be monitored. When the chairperson left, Allison turned to Sage Orin. Thank you. Do not thank me yet, the ancient being replied. We still face destruction, and now you must find a solution while under close watch. Allison looked at her team, tired, outnumbered, falsely accused, but still determined. Then we better get to work. Jack, Olivia, can you rebuild the quantum communicator with the parts we have left? Jack shrugged. We can try, but we'll need access to the damaged unit. I'll arrange it, Sage Orin promised. Catherine, Daniel, I need you to learn everything you can about this precursor weapon. Work with Sage Orin's archives. As her team prepared to move, Allison looked out the viewport at the stars. Somewhere in that vast darkness, an ancient weapon was hurtling toward them, programmed to target the very thing that made humans unique, their unpredictable minds. The irony wasn't lost on her. Commander, Daniel said quietly, what if we can't stop it? Then we prove the Arcturians right, she replied. Humans really are dangerous when backed into a corner. Time was running out. The spatial anomaly had grown larger, its strange energy signature now visible, even with the naked eye, as a shimmering distortion against the stars. Council ships evacuated priority personnel while others prepared for the worst. In a small workshop near the docking bay, Jack and Olivia worked frantically to rebuild the quantum communicator. Parts and tools lay scattered around them as they repurposed components from other systems. Hand me that circuit board, Jack said, not looking up from his work. His fingers were bandaged from yesterday's injuries, but he ignored the pain. Olivia passed it to him. Power converter is ready. How's the quantum matrix? Stable for now, but we're missing a key component for the amplifier array. Olivia wiped sweat from her forehead. We could try to adapt a standard communication relay. It wouldn't handle the power surge. Jack sat back, frustrated. We need something stronger. On the other side of the station, Catherine and Daniel pored over ancient Eldoran texts with Sage Orin. Holographic displays showed diagrams of precursor technology alongside Arcturian research notes. The weapon operates on multiple dimensional planes, Daniel said, tracing a complex pattern in the air. That's why conventional defenses can't stop it. Catherine pointed to another section. Look here, the Arcturians managed to activate it using a resonance frequency that mimics the original precursor command signals. Could we use a counter frequency to shut it down? Daniel asked. Sage Orin shook his head. The Arcturians tried that in their tests. The system adapts too quickly. In the command center, Allison faced growing hostility from the council delegates. Ambassador Zixvar had presented fabricated evidence linking the anomaly to human experiments, and many believed him. The humans must be surrendered to justice, one delegate demanded. Their recklessness threatens us all. The chairperson held up a hand for silence. We will address guilt after the crisis is resolved. For now, we must focus on survival. Allison stepped forward. My team is working on a potential solution. We believe we can disrupt the anomaly's targeting system using modified quantum communication technology. Ambassador Zixvar's skin darkened with anger. More human technology. The very cause of this disaster. What alternative do you offer, Ambassador? Allison challenged. Your ships can't evacuate everyone in time. Before Zixvar could respond, the station shuddered violently. Warning alarms blared through every corridor. The anomaly has accelerated. A technician shouted. New estimated arrival. 30 minutes. Panic spread through the command center. The chairperson struggled to maintain order as delegates clamored for escape pods and emergency transport. Allison activated her communicator. Status reports. Now. We're close, Jack replied, his voice tense. But we still need an amplifier strong enough to broadcast the jamming signal. Catherine broke in. Commander, we've identified the targeting pattern. It's definitely keyed to human neural frequencies. But the range is too wide. We can't jam all of those frequencies at once. Allison's mind raced. Could we use a focused signal instead? Target the control mechanism. Maybe, Daniel said. But we'd need direct access to the Arcturian research data. They're the only ones who know exactly how they activated the weapon. Sage Orin spoke next. I may have a solution for the amplifier problem. The Eldoran ship contains a crystal resonator that could serve your purpose. And the Arcturian data? Allison asked. There was a pause. That will be more difficult, the sage admitted. The station shuddered again. Lights flickered and gravity briefly failed before emergency systems kicked in. Allison made a decision. Jack, Olivia. Go with Sage Orin to get that crystal. Catherine, Daniel. Meet me at the Arcturian embassy section. We're going to get that data. Commander, Catherine said hesitantly, the embassy is heavily guarded. Then we'll need a distraction. 20 minutes later, chaos ruled the station. Most systems were failing as the anomaly's influence grew stronger. In the confusion, few noticed a small group of humans approaching the Arcturian embassy section. Security systems are down, Catherine reported, scanning with her datapad. But there are still guards at the main entrance. Allison nodded to Daniel, who activated a small device. Elsewhere on the station, a series of minor explosions sounded, harmless but very loud. As predicted, most of the Arcturian guards rushed toward the disturbance. Allison and her team slipped past the remaining guard and into the embassy. We need to find their main data center, Allison whispered. Catherine pointed down a corridor. Energy readings suggest it's that way. They moved quickly through the strangely angled hallways of the Arcturian embassy. The architecture felt alien even compared to other alien designs on the station, all sharp edges and asymmetrical spaces. "Here," Catherine said, stopping before a sealed door. "This is it." Daniel connected his data pad to the security panel. "This will take a minute to bypass." "We don't have a minute," Allison said, looking at her watch. "The anomaly will reach us in less than 15 minutes. As Daniel worked, Allison's communicator activated. "Commander," Jack's voice came through, strained but excited. "We've got the crystal. We're installing it now, but we still need that targeting data." "Working on it," Allison replied. The door suddenly slid open, but instead of finding a data center, they found themselves face to face with Ambassador Zixpar and two Arcturian officials. "Humans," the ambassador said coldly. "Your desperation makes you predictable after all." "Ambassador," Allison said, straightening to her full height. "You know what's coming. You activated a weapon you can't control, and now it's going to destroy us all, including you." Zixfar's three eyes blinked in sequence, a regrettable but necessary demonstration of human danger. "It's more than that," Daniel said. "You didn't just find a precursor weapon. You found evidence that humans share neural patterns with the precursors themselves. That's why your prophecies warn about us. We think like the beings your ancestors feared most." The ambassador's posture stiffened. The precursors were chaos incarnate. They created technology that defied natural law. Their thinking was wrong. "And yet here you are," Catherine said, "using their technology for your own purposes." The station rocked violently. Overhead lights failed, leaving only emergency illumination. 5 minutes to impact," announced the station's automated system. Allison stepped forward. "Give us the activation codes and targeting data. We can stop this." "How?" one of the other Arcturians asked, sounding genuinely curious despite the situation. "By thinking like humans," Allison said. "By doing what we do best, adapting, improvising, seeing connections where others don't. The very chaos you fear might save us all." Ambassador Zixfar hesitated, three eyes blinking rapidly in what appeared to be their version of internal conflict. "Time is running out, Ambassador," Allison pressed. "Your people will die too. Is proving a point worth that price?" After what seemed an eternity, the ambassador moved to a console and rapidly entered commands. A data crystal emerged from a slot. "The complete activation sequence and targeting parameters," Zixfar said, holding it out. "But no species has ever controlled precursor technology without understanding precursor thought. You cannot succeed." Allison took the crystal. "Watch us try." They ran for the docking bay where Jack and Olivia had set up the modified quantum communicator. The entire station now shook continuously as systems failed under the anomaly's influence. Emergency lighting cast everything in eerie red shadows. "We've got it," Allison called as they burst into the bay. Jack looked up from the jury-rigged device, his face smeared with oil and sweat. "Just in time. The Eldarin crystal is integrated, but we need those targeting parameters." Daniel connected the data crystal to their system. "Downloading now." On the main display, they could see the anomaly, a swirling vortex of energy unlike anything in known space. Within it, structures seemed to form and dissolve, as if the fabric of reality itself was being rewritten. "That's not just a weapon," Catherine whispered. "It's a dimensional portal of some kind. Whatever it is, it's key to target human neural patterns," Jack said, studying the Arcturian data. "But there's something else here, a secondary command structure buried in the original code." Olivia looked over his shoulder. "It looks like the Arcturians added their own control system on top of the precursor technology." "Can we use that?" Allison asked. Jack shook his head. "Not directly. But..." His eyes suddenly widened. "Wait, what if we don't try to shut it down? What if we redirect it?" "Redirect it where?" Catherine asked. "Back to its source," Jack said. The Arcturians have been sending control signals from somewhere. If we can identify that source and bounce the anomaly's energy back along that path. Daniel caught on. We could create a feedback loop in their control system. Jack nodded excitedly. Exactly. But we'll need to modify our jamming signal on the fly. The timing has to be perfect. How do we do that? Allison asked. Jack and Olivia exchanged glances. Manually, Olivia said. Someone has to pilot a ship directly into the anomaly's edge carrying the modified communicator. From there, they can transmit the redirecting signal at exactly the right moment. The implication was clear. A suicide mission. I'll do it, Olivia said firmly. I'm the best pilot we have. No. Allison shook her head. I'll go. This is my responsibility. With respect, Commander, Olivia countered. You're needed here. This is what I do. I fly into dangerous situations. Before Allison could argue further, the station's computer announced, 1 minute to impact. All personnel to emergency shelters. Allison made her decision. Olivia pilots. Jack goes to operate the communicator. Daniel, Catherine, help me coordinate from here. They moved with desperate speed. A small diplomatic shuttle was quickly prepared. Jack loaded the modified quantum communicator, while Olivia ran pre-flight checks. The shuttle won't survive more than a few seconds inside the anomaly's field, Jack warned as he strapped down the equipment. A few seconds is all we need, Olivia replied, her hands dancing over the controls. Allison gripped their shoulders. Get it done and get out. That's an order. The two nodded grimly. As the shuttle's ramp closed, Allison returned to the command center where Catherine and Daniel had established a temporary control station. On the main screen, they could see the shuttle launching from the station, a tiny speck heading toward the massive swirling vortex of the anomaly. Shuttle is away, Catherine reported. 30 seconds to anomaly contact. Around them, the remaining council members watched in stunned silence. Even Ambassador Zixver stood motionless, all three eyes fixed on the display. Jack reports the communicator is online, Daniel said. Quantum field stable. 20 seconds to contact, Catherine counted. Allison opened a channel. Olivia, Jack, you still have time to abort. Negative, Commander, Olivia's calm voice replied. Someone has to see this through. The shuttle grew smaller as it approached the massive anomaly. Energy tendrils reached out like grasping fingers. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. The shuttle disappeared into the swirling energy. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Jack's voice, breaking up with static. Signal. Transmitting. Feedback loop. Initiated. The anomaly's swirling pattern suddenly changed. The energy tendrils began to retract, pulling inward. The vortex shimmered, its colors shifting rapidly. It's working, Daniel exclaimed. The energy is being redirected. But where's the shuttle? Allison demanded. Catherine worked her sensors. I can't get a clear reading. There's too much interference. The anomaly continued to contract, growing smaller by the second. Then, without warning, it collapsed entirely, imploding into a single point of light, before vanishing completely. The station's systems began to recover. Lights returned to normal, and the shaking stopped. Anomaly has dissipated, a technician reported with disbelief. All readings normal. And the shuttle? Allison asked. Catherine shook her head. No sign of it, Commander. They must have been caught in the collapse. The command center fell silent. The crisis had passed, but at what cost? Then, a burst of static came over the communication system. Require assistance. Engines. Offline. That's Jack. Daniel jumped to his feet. Boost that signal, Allison ordered. A moment later, Olivia's voice came through clearly. Station control. This is Shuttle Diplomat requesting emergency retrieval. We've lost power and are drifting, but we're alive. Repeat, we are alive. Cheers erupted throughout the command center. Even some of the alien delegates joined in, their various appendages raised in gestures of celebration. How? Catherine asked in wonder. They should have been destroyed. Daniel studied the sensor logs. They must have executed a slingshot maneuver around the anomaly's event horizon, using its own energy to boost them clear before it collapsed. Impossible timing, one of the alien technicians muttered. No calculation could predict that trajectory. They didn't calculate it, Allison said with pride. They improvised. She looked across the command center to where Ambassador Zixver stood, watching the celebrations with all three eyes wide open. 3 days after the crisis, the Galactic Council reconvened for a formal session. The Grand Chamber had been repaired, though signs of damage remained, a reminder of how close they had come to destruction. Every seat was filled as delegates gathered to address the aftermath and decide Earth's fate. Commander Allison Wright stood with her team at the center of the chamber. Jack and Olivia still showed signs of their ordeal, but both had refused medical leave to attend this crucial meeting. Catherine and Daniel flanked them, datapads ready with their final reports. The chairperson rose to address the assembly. This council has faced many challenges in its long history, but few as grave as the recent crisis. We gathered today to determine responsibility and consequences. Ambassador Zixver sat with the Arcturian delegation, their posture stiff and formal. The ambassador's skin had lost some of its metallic luster, appearing almost dull under the chamber lights. Before we begin formal proceedings, the chairperson continued, Sage Orin of the Eldarin Collective has requested to address the council. The ancient being approached slowly, leaning on a staff. Honored delegates, we have all witnessed remarkable events. An ancient weapon was awakened. A spatial anomaly threatened our existence, and when all seemed lost, the very species some feared most provided our salvation. The sage turned to look at the human delegation. The prophecy that troubled the Arcturians for generations has been fulfilled, but not as they feared. Only gods can aid when humans lose control. These words were not a warning about human chaos, but a recognition of human potential. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Sage Orin continued. The precursors, in their final days, foresaw the eventual rise of humanity, a species whose minds work in ways similar to their own. A species capable of seeing beyond conventional logic to find solutions where none seemed possible. The sage gestured toward Olivia and Jack. These humans did not calculate a safe path through the anomaly. They felt it. They adapted in the moment, making connections no computer could predict. This is the gift of humanity. Ambassador Zixver rose. The Arcturian Dominion acknowledges its error. The musical voice was subdued, lacking its usual confidence. We misinterpreted ancient wisdom and acted out of fear rather than understanding. We accept full responsibility for the danger we created. Allison stepped forward. The people of Earth do not seek punishment, but partnership. We are new to the stars. We have much to learn. But we also have something to offer, a different way of thinking. The chairperson nodded. That brings us to the matter at hand. The petition for Earth's inclusion in the Galactic Council. They activated a voting display. Delegates will now cast their votes. The chamber fell silent as species from across the galaxy registered their decisions. Allison held her breath, watching as the display filled with points of light, each representing a vote. Ing. When the final tally appeared, the chairperson seemed surprised. By an overwhelming majority, Earth's petition is accepted. Commander Wright, I officially welcome humanity to the Galactic Council. Cheers erupted from many delegates. Daniel squeezed Catherine's hand, while Jack and Olivia exchanged tired but triumphant smiles. Furthermore, the chairperson added once the chamber quieted, in recognition of humanity's unique abilities, this council hereby establishes a new division, the Crisis Response Initiative. Commander Wright, we ask that Earth lead this effort. Allison bowed formally. Earth accepts this honor and responsibility. As the session concluded, delegates approached the human team to offer congratulations and express interest in cooperation. Even a group of Arcturians came forward, led not by Ambassador Zixbar, but by a younger member of their species. "I am Subenvoy Trell," the Arcturian said. "Our Dominion wishes to establish direct diplomatic relations with Earth. We have much to learn from each other." "We be honored," Allison replied, noting how the Arcturian's 3 eyes remained fixed on her, not with suspicion now, but with genuine curiosity. Later, as the human team prepared to return to the Horizon for their journey home, Sage Orin met them in a quiet corridor. "You will carry great news to Earth," the ancient being said, "but also great responsibility." Allison nodded. "We understand. Humanity is part of something larger now." Indeed, the sage's eyes seemed to look beyond her, as if seeing possibilities stretching into the future. The complete prophecy speaks of challenges yet to come, trials that will require the best of all our species working together. "And we'll be ready," Daniel said confidently. Sage Orin smiled. "I believe you will. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. The precursors understood that no single approach to knowledge is complete. The ordered logic of the Arcturians, the ancient wisdom of the Eldarans, the creative chaos of humanity, all are needed." Catherine looked thoughtful. "Is that what the prophecy really meant? That gods, or different species, must aid each other when faced with challenges too great for any one approach?" "Precisely," the sage replied. "The precursors believed that true advancement comes not from perfecting one path, but from the harmony of many." As they said their goodbyes, Allison stood for a moment at a viewport, gazing out at the stars. Soon, they would return to Earth with news that would forever change human history. Their world would join a community of thousands of worlds, each with their own wisdom to share. Behind her, she heard her team discussing plans for the journey home. Jack describing modifications to the ship's engines, Olivia calculating the fastest route, Catherine and Daniel debating how to explain their experiences to the people of Earth. Allison smiled to herself. Ambassador Zixbar had been right about one thing. Humans did bring chaos. But it was a creative chaos, the kind that found patterns in randomness and possibilities in problems, the kind that turned disaster into opportunity. As if sensing her thoughts, Sage Orin appeared beside her. "Your people will change the galaxy, Commander Wright." "For the better, I hope," she replied. "The future is never certain," the sage said, "but I have watched your team face impossible odds with courage and creativity. If they represent humanity, then I believe the change will indeed be for the better." Together, they watched as a ship from Earth, once a tiny speck in the vast cosmos, now a recognized member of the galactic community, prepared to carry its crew home, with news of adventures past and wonders yet to come. The Eldaran's final words stayed with Allison long after they left Centauri Prime. "Remember the true lesson of the prophecy, Commander. No species thrives alone. When challenges seem greatest, look to the diversity of life for your answers. For in our differences, we find our greatest strength." Allison Wright, first human representative to the Galactic Council, nodded in understanding. The stars awaited, and humanity's greatest adventure was just begin.